In day 3, you learned how to graph a line given the slope and a point. You also learned how to find the slope. So now we're going to graph using the slope-intercept form. Here's the equation we're going to graph. Y equals negative 3x plus 2. Now let's identify the parts before we start graphing. You've got y equals mx plus b. And I said before, the number in front of the x is the slope. All right, so let's look at this equation. Y equals negative 3x plus 2. What is the slope? Well, the slope is negative 3 because that is the number in front of the x. Well, the next question is, what is the y-intercept? And that's where the line crosses the y-axis. It's right there, positive 2. This is your b. Whoops, I put a negative there. Your b is where the line crosses the y-axis. B equals 2. So when you see these equations, label this, write down this information. You actually do have these questions in ALEKS when you are going to be given an equation and all they want you to do is identify the slope and the y-intercept in the equation. Now let me point something out to you about this formula, all right? The formula says y equals mx, and I'm going to do a big old yellow here, plus b. That is the formula. So if you see something written as minus 2, that means your y-intercept is a negative 2. All right, because the formula is plus b. So if you see minus a number, your y-intercept is negative. All right, now let's follow the steps. So step 1, place a point at the y-intercept. So place a point. Our y-intercept is 2, which means on the y-axis, you're going to 2. You could also call that 0, 2. That's the coordinate point. 0, 2, the y-intercept. Okay, from that point, count out the slope. I'll do it in yellow. The slope to find the next point. Now, remember what we said last lesson. Every whole number is over 1 because you got to figure out how many to go over. So it's negative 3 over 1. So I'm going to go rise over run, correct? 1, 2, 3 over 1. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 over 1. I have a negative slope. I want my line to go down left to right. And then the last thing you do is connect the 2, or in my case, 3 points. All right, let's see if Mrs. Gates can draw a line. Don't hold your breath. There's my line. Y equals negative 3x plus 2. It's a negative slope. All right, now let's look at some more. We're going to graph a few things. So now I'm going to start using specific colors. All right, I'm going to graph this one in yellow. Y equals negative 1/3 x minus 1. Let's talk it through. Negative 1 is my y-intercept. Negative 1/3 is my slope. Now remember, slope is rise over run. So my rise is 1. My run is 3. Don't let fractions fool you. Fractions are easier to graph because you don't have to remember to put a 1 underneath it. Down 1, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to connect these dots. Now when you're connecting these dots, guys, especially if you do it on paper, don't just connect 3 dots. Make it further. It's a line. Lines go on forever. Go past your dots. Okay, there's that one. Now I'm going to do, on the same graph, I'm going to do y equals 2x. Now don't let this fool you. Don't let this freak you out. Let me show you something. Y equals mx plus b. I line things up, okay? I have y equals 2x, but I don't have a b. Oh no! Well, yeah, you do. It's plus 0. We just don't write plus 0. So if you see y equals 2x, your y-intercept is 0. Your slope is positive 2, up to over 1, down to over 1. So y equals 2x means your y-intercept is 0. At this point in algebra, there's always going to be a y-intercept. There's not a y-intercept except for very special lines. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right, now, keeping that in mind, I'm going to go back and forth in my graphs. Now I'm going to do, over here, y equals, I'm going to put a little red dot and do it in red. 6x minus 3. My y-intercept is negative 3. My slope is positive 6, so I want my line to go up and to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1. Remember, you put it over 1 because you need a rise over run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and over 1. Don't judge me. Okay. Last line I'm going to do is this one, y equals 4. Okay, here's a weird question. My first question is, what's your y-intercept? Well, your y-intercept is 4. Okay, I'm going to put that over on this. I'm going to do this over on this far left graph. See the green? Now, my next question is, what's the slope? And you'll see there isn't one. There is no x. So this could be y equals 0x plus 4. But we don't write 0x. So what this means, going back to your last session, it doesn't matter where across you go, your line will be horizontal at 4. You learned that last lesson, and now you're graphing what you just learned. So when you have y equals a number, it is a horizontal line at that number, because that number is where the line goes through the y-axis. Now let's look at it logically. How do I know it goes horizontal and not vertically? Well, I know the line crosses the y-axis at 4. Well, if it goes vertically, it goes straight on the y-axis, and that's just wrong. All right? And plus, we could do it mathematically and do points. We're not going to do that right now. So if you see y equals 4, it is a horizontal line through the y-intercept that we give you. Okay, let that sink in.